Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This is a bit overdue. I've mentioned I'll do this, but we're finally here today. So as you can see, I've got a Plexi to the side of me. This is a very special Plexi. We'll get to that later on in the video. So this has been highly requested. I'm going to plug a few different guitars in, talk about the settings, and just have a bit of fun with it really. So here goes. Okay, so this is probably going to be one of the most iconic amps for rock music ever. It's the amp that all our guitar heroes made famous. So guys like Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, Billy Gibbons, Eddie Van Halen, Angus Young, Lindsey Buckingham. The list is pretty much endless. Peter Green, can't forget him. So loads of my guitar heroes would have plugged into something very similar to this back in the early 60s and 70s. So what we've got here is obviously a reissue. Now it's quite beaten up, and there's a reason why, because this is actually pre-owned. It used to belong to someone quite important, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. But it's essentially, the model is the 1959 SLP Super Lead Plexi. It's 100 watts, fully tube, and it is very loud. Today we're using a 2-notes captor load box to capture this. Otherwise, I think my head would be ripped off with the sheer power that this thing has. It is ridiculous. So those eagle-eyed among you might notice there's been a little modification to the amp here, which we'll get into later on, which actually makes it very playable in a sort of studio or a house environment. So I'll do a few more playing examples, then I'll tell you about the history behind this amp. Okay, so like I said earlier, this amp has a bit of a special story to it. Anyone that follows me on my Instagram page or my Facebook page might have seen a photo of this a while ago, a couple of months back I think, when we acquired it. So this Plexi here used to belong to a guy called Toby Jepson. Anyone not familiar with Toby, he's a fantastic guy. He was the frontman in a band called the Little Angels. So they were pretty big in the 90s, phenomenal band, great songwriting, great songs. And you know, they had a lot of success. They opened up for Guns N' Roses, Van Halen, Bon Jovi, Bryan Adams, a lot of my favourite bands. So you know, Toby's a really sort of special character, and he played this amp in his most recent band, a band called Wayward. So you might have heard them on Planet Rock, which he's a DJ on as well, actually, on the Sunday night show. But I went to see Wayward Sons a couple of months ago, and they were supporting Steel Panther, and yeah, that's where we came across the amp essentially. So it used to belong to Toby Jepson, and it is, you know, it's really cool to have something here that was owned by sort of like a, you know, one of your heroes. It's just a cool thing really, and it's been used extensively on both Wayward Sons albums. So yeah, it sounds great, and everything I've heard it on, and hopefully today I'll be putting it through its paces a little bit for you. And use a few different guitars, just brought a few out of the collection. So I've got my SG here. I'm going to use some Les Pauls because everyone likes the Les Pauls. I'll plug in a Strat for some Hendrix tones, and just sort of, you know, sort of plug and play really. Should be a fun video for everyone today. Okay, so I'm just going to talk you through the control panel on the front. So it's called a Plexi because that's referring to this plexiglass kind of design here, and you know, that was really popular in the sort of the early 60s, like I said before. So yeah, it's a very basic amp. It's actually 2 channels, but not like a modern switching channel amp. You can only have one channel at a time. You know, it's channel 1 or it's channel 2. So again, the controls have got a mains, you know, power switch, standby, got a little indicator light here, and then you'll recognise these controls from most modern Marshalls. But you've got presence, bass, middle, treble, high treble, and the normal. So you've got 2 volume controls here. This control is the control for volume 1, so that's your high treble channel, and this channel here, that's a volume control for the normal channel, so that's a bit bassier, a bit lower gain. Then here we've got 4 inputs, so this is a little bit unusual if you've not ever played like an old-fashioned amp before. This is essentially channel 1. You've got 2 inputs, that's a high gain and a low gain input, which has been modified. Then we've got channel 2, same again, a high gain and a low gain input. I believe there's a 6 dB difference between the inputs there. So at the moment we've got it plugged into channel 1 and the high gain input. That's, in my opinion, where it sounds best. So all the examples today will be channel 1 high gain. But a lot of people, what they would do, they'd use a jumper cable to go between the lower channel here, the lower input on channel 1 into the higher input on channel 2, and that allows you to sort of blend both volumes in like this, so you can get your sort of the higher treble sound blended with the bassy sound of channel 2 essentially. But like I said, today everything's on channel 1, and yeah, it sounds great as it does like this. There's actually a little sticker here which says this one here, so that would have been from Toby, or his guitar tech I believe. So starting to mess with it, I'm going to keep it on channel 1 and yeah, do some more playing for you. Okay, so it's 100 watts, it's a loud 100 watts, it's fully tube, built at Milton Keynes, just down the road from here, you know, good old Marshall. So inside this we have 4 EL34s and 3 EC83s, so that's the setup of tubes there. One feature this amp does have that the original wouldn't have had is actually an effects loop, and I've got a delay pedal. It's the carbon copy, it's actually the deluxe, cool pedal. And I've got that in the back in the effects loop. Now this is actually foot switchable, and there's a little button on the back I believe which is allows you to have it engaged or completely taken out the circuit. So if you sort of tone purists who don't want that feature there because it wasn't on the original, you can just take that right out of the equation. So we've got it pushed in obviously at the moment to use the effects loop, and I'm just switching in a bit of delay here and there on a few playing examples. But other than that, I'm just using straight up the amp. I'll be switching guitars, and it just sounds great as it does with the amp. If I do use any of the pedals, I'll say obviously, but just pure raw amp tone today. So yeah. Okay, so I've grabbed my black Les Paul. These are 57 classics in here, and this guitar comes from 1993. It's an old one, it's beaten up, and it just sounds lovely with this amp. Probably my favourite guitar to play for this amp, I guess. It just feels like a great, you know, the two go well. And so the lower output pickups really sound great with this amp. There's so much clarity. So as you'd imagine, the harder you hit the strings, the more the amp sort of compresses, and you just get that lovely natural tone from on the tubes there. So I'm going to play a few different examples. Let's start off with a bit of Thin Lizzy. So I'm going to try about the neck pickup, and I'm going to roll the volume back, just get a little bit more of a bluesier sound. Just show how dynamic this amp can be, you know, with the touch. So. Okay, so I'll talk you through the settings I've got here in case anyone's interested. So we pretty much kept everything exactly how it was, and we just changed guitars. I might roll the volume down on the guitar, but settings here, EQ and volumes and whatnot, we didn't really touch at all. So presence is on 6, bass, that's just a little bit higher, so that'll be 7. Middle, that's on full whack, always like to have the full mid-range in. So that is as high as it goes, right on 10. Treble, 5, and then the 2 volumes. So we've got the high treble on full, and then the normal channel volume on full as well. So obviously we're plugged into channel 1, so that'll be this control here. Now I should mention about this little thing here, because if you're used to seeing a Plexi, you probably won't be familiar with it having this control here. So this amp has actually been modified, and this just gives it a master volume control, which, as you can imagine, on a Plexi makes it actually usable in a house. So yeah, we've had that, what's that, about, I don't know, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock or so. So yeah, fairly loud, but that's a great feature. Like I said before, we're using the 2 notes capture load box to capture the sounds here, because that would be ridiculous if we're you know, plugged in for the cab. I think it would blow the house down. So yeah, hopefully that explains all you need to know about the front panel of the amp there. Okay, so I got the Strat here. These are Texas Specials in the neck here, which I'm on at the moment. Obviously I'm going to play a little bit of Jimmy, because when a lot of people see one of these and one of these, they think Jimi Hendrix. So here goes, here's a few tunes. I'll do the classic as well. So I'm just going to switch to my second position here, so they're both pickups together. As you can hear, it sounds lovely, very Jimmy with the Strat, the single coils and the Plexi. It's just a great combination. You can really dig in there and get a bit of grit going on, and then just relax a bit more and get that lovely sort of full clean sound. So I can see why I like the two together. I could not imagine playing one as a full stack crank though. That would have been ridiculous back in those days. Would have literally stripped the paint off the walls of the venues, I could imagine, you know. But yeah, so I'm going to grab my white Les Paul, not use that one today, to see how that sounds. So we're going to do a few more riffs for you. Okay, so back on the white Les Paul. This is another Gibson Les Paul Custom from 1983 this time, and it's got the infamous Tim Shaw pickups. If you don't know much about these pickups, they are incredible. I've done a whole other video on this. I'll link it in the top, hopefully. And this is, you know, I've actually called it my dream guitar. It's my dream Les Paul. It's a beautiful Les Paul. So let's hear some riffs. So bridge pickup, everything on the guitar is on full. Okay, so I put a post out on my Instagram and my Facebook page of the week ahead of this video, saying what riffs you want to hear on this bad boy. So a lot of people have been asking for AC/DC, so I'm happy to play some AC/DC for you all. So again, if you're not following my Instagram or my Facebook page, links will be in the description, so check down below. And yeah, it's just a chance for you to sort of see what I'm up to ahead of each video at the weekend or whatever. In the week I'll post little clips and whatnot. So yeah, a lot of people have been commenting for AC/DC and all sorts of riffs really. But I've picked some of my favourites from the big list that I got. So here you go. Hope you enjoy. Alright, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been great fun plugging into this Plexi, albeit very sweaty. It's kicking out a lot of heat, but it's such a great, cool amplifier, and I love the little story behind it as well. So very special amp. So let me know in the comments, what was your favourite riff on it? What guitar do you think sounded best on it as well? For me, I like my black Les Paul with it, and the Strat sounded pretty cool as well. But you know, everyone's gonna have a different opinion on it, I'm sure. So let me know in the comments what your favourite riff was and what your favourite guitar was plugged into this. Does anyone have any stories about Plexis that they've owned in the past as well? They are very cool, so I'm looking forward to hearing all your stories. So thanks so much again for watching. Stay tuned to the next video, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.